and the pager goes off and you're able to respond, you go. So, like I say, I enjoy being able to hopefully help somebody in crisis. It's a rewarding job in my mind.
For nearly 30 years, Kurt Christensen has put others' safety before his own. But after losing fellow fireman Fred Fedeler last year, the focus on his health has become a priority.
My wife had been kind of talking about maybe getting this done for a while, and that just kind of makes you think harder about it and speed things up. So,
thanks to South Dakota Salutes, Kurt and 24 of the Lake County volunteer firemen went through Planet Heart screenings to make sure they were truly heart healthy enough to handle the stress of the job. Kurt didn't know what to expect.
Nope.
But he had a sneaky suspicion.
Oh, what's this gonna find?
After completing the vascular screen and CT scan, Kurt's numbers spoke for themselves.
Yeah, they told me right away that my one score was a little higher than what they'd like to see.
653.8. A totally normal score would be 0. What we call a high-risk score would be 400 or above. Basically, anything that shows plaque, that's a risk, different gradients of risk, but 400 and above is when I start to think, okay, that's a high-risk score. Let's do something more about it.
For Kurt, that meant a return trip to the Avera Heart Hospital for a more in-depth evaluation with a cardiologist. After an EKG and updated vitals, he was a candidate for a stress test.
If the calcium score is high, there's a higher risk of having a plugged artery. And the stress test will then sort out, okay, is that high-risk score significant enough to warrant more testing or invasive testing, or can we just treat it with medication?
Being a volunteer fireman prepares you for a lot, but Kurt says he was definitely nervous.
Right, yep. Like there wasn't any stress to begin with, and now you're doing a stress test.
There's a couple parts to the stress test. We'll get a baseline imaging of the heart blood flow to decide if it's normal at rest. And then we do a stress test. Oftentimes we put people on a treadmill and have them walk until we achieve a certain level. Then we do another imaging after the stress, and then we compare the resting images and the stress images. And if there's a difference, we can make an interpretation if there's a potential blockage that needs to be addressed.
You know, all in all, it's a good deal. You know, you find out if you do have a problem, and if you do, hopefully you found it out soon enough they can, help you out with it.
So, did Kurt's heart pass the test?
Kurt did well on the stress test, and it came back on a lower risk. So I think at this point, the plaque that he has in his arteries is probably lining the artery and not actually plugging the artery. And so we just treat him with medication and lifestyle.
Like most things in life, knowing is half the battle. The other is putting in the work to adopt better habits. As for Kurt, he hopes his example and the one made by Fred Fedeler both show others the importance of heart health.
I hope so. I mean, the unfortunate deal that he went through, and lost his life due to a heart issue, awakens everybody else to say, hey, if it happened to him, it could happen to me.